Hello, hello. Yeah, we are back. Annie Berg and I decided um to ask Annie if we want to do a series in the Higher States show because of the various topics that we can discuss and the project that she is working on and the way that she told me about her new book just inspired me to yeah have a few separate episodes about a few different topics as I think we all can benefit from that conversation and that information that she has and that we are going to share together as well to give some perspective, right? From both sides. So thanks for being here, Annie.
It's my
And
pleasure. I enjoy
yeah,
our chat.
mm,
And I think it's interesting that, we've had such different life experiences in this lifetime, but we resonate so much about a
mm-hmm.
number of different spiritual topics. So it's just fascinating to see where we go and talk about things that sometimes I've never consciously thought about before, but makes a lot of sense.
It does. And it's as you say it, like sometimes we come from a total different perspective or experience, though we can find alignment in the way how we experience it. And this is the magic that is happening for all of us, humans or even animals. And when we are becoming aware of that is, yeah, it's very beautiful. So we decided to start with the spiritual awakening, right? And we both have experienced it in our own unique ways. Would you like to go into that topic for yourself a little bit to make an understanding for the listeners, to
Mhm.
help them maybe even understanding their awakening, or if they haven't had it, just giving them an idea?
Yep, sure. So, my understanding is that people wake up in a number of different ways. And I must admit that I had no idea that you could wake up. I didn't know what a spiritual awakening was. And so, when I consciously woke up, I had no idea what was going on. So, right from an early age, I always knew things and I didn't know why, but I would know the answer to questions that people asked me. And it was only after I'd woken up that I realized that was a claircognizance gift. So we do have spiritual gifts and they vary between people, but claircognizance is clear knowing. And there's no rational explanation. I'd be listening to adult conversations and I could put the answer to the question. And the people are just looking at me like, how does she know that? And I don't know how I know it, but I just do. But, at a young age, like 4 or 5, I wasn't really aware of anything about spiritual awakening or spiritual purpose. So I've spoken with some people who have had their spiritual awakening when they've worked with crystals for the first time. So crystals are what I consider a vibrational medicine, and I love working with them because to me, they're natural, they're from the earth, they're from God,
Yeah.
and they all vibrate at different frequencies so they can help us with different things, so they can support us on a physical, spiritual, emotional, and mental level. And I've heard of people just holding on to a crystal for the first time and they just start crying. They feel all these emotions. They don't know what's going on. And that's part of their awakening process. For me, it was a bit different. Everything was normal. And then suddenly one day, my clairvoyant gift switched on. And I'd be having a conversation with someone like you. And suddenly I'd have all these images of your past and images of your future. And it's a bit freaky when it starts because you think, what is this? But then,
Yeah.
more important question is, why is it happening? Why is
Hmm.
it happening now? And what am I supposed to do with it? And at the time, I spoke to a few people. I hadn't heard anything about like new age concepts, weren't really well known or mainstream then. And I spoke to a few people and they said, oh, no, don't dabble in that. So I listened to them. I'd gone to them for advice. That's what they told me. So I just switched it off and didn't do anything with it for years until a friend found a flyer for a spiritual development course. and she's very intuitive. And she said, I thought you might be interested in this. So I went along, and my clairvoyance switched back on, healing switched on, a number of other things
Wow.
switched on. And so that was kind of profound, suddenly dealing with all this stuff and being like a sponge, trying to find as much information as I could about what was going on, because there's no rational explanation for things like, we do exercises where you've got a photo turned down so you can't see what it is, and you have to tune in and see if you can work out what the image is, or you're holding something that belongs to someone, like a piece of jewelry or their car keys, and you don't know who they belong to, but you try and get intuitive messages from them. Now, again, there's no rational way that that information is coming to you, but it comes to you. So I was just intrigued with how all of that worked. So that just started a huge learning journey for me, that I just became like a spiritual workshop junkie. I just wanted to go to everything and find out about everything. I was interested in crystals. I was interested in healing, interested in mediumship, connecting with souls in spirit. I've been interested in animal communication. So lots of different things. And so I've just kind of developed my expertise now, and want to help other people understand what's happening, because basically there's more to life than being born and passing away. I understand that as souls, whether we're humans or animals, that we come to Earth with a soul mission, and we have soul lessons to learn. And sometimes it takes us a while to understand why we're here
Yeah.
and what we're supposed to be doing, and the lessons that we learn along the way. But that's sort of been my journey, that things just switch on, and as I progress, more things switch on, or spiritual gifts get amplified, just to support the particular mission that I'm on in this lifetime.
Mm. Yeah, beautiful. When you mentioned you being 5 years and having that information for no apparent reason eventually, but is what we may think. But actually, what I think is that for you, it was just normal to know this. For a part of you, this was just it, right? And for me, when I look back, there hasn't been something. There have been certain situations that just got me deeper into it, where I couldn't longer deny anything that I've seen. Now I feel that my awakening started very early, and I came basically the moment that I came out of the womb. If I look at my eyes being a child and remembered now through the healing that I've done, my entire childhood and how I felt, how I was observing things, how I knew things my entire life, I just dimmed it down because I thought I'm weird and I thought that this isn't true. So the moment that the ego for me started developing, I started lying to myself, or I started telling, no, I'm not true, or I asked myself the question, am I wrong here, or am I weird and they are normal? And I just wanted to be normal. I just wanted to be a part of life or of humanity, of the people around me, though I always felt very alone, in my knowing of things, and I couldn't make a full understanding of it, and it has been very difficult being sensitive, um, and being an empath, having those telepathic abilities, even knowing things before even people finish their sentence. I already knew what they're going to say next. And this has been my entire life, sitting in school and people struggled with the word. I just knew exactly the word that they were looking for. Like many times they played around with that, and I just always knew the word that they're going to say in a few seconds. So it's been very fascinating for me now to remember that, because I was so was judging myself so much, because no one told me about those abilities even exist, or no one told me that no one else has those abilities, or or that everyone else has the ability to tune into those informations. And yeah, it's been very fascinating. And what helped me is actually going out of where I came from in terms of the physical place that I was living in. And I started going to Australia, right, where we met as well. And the journey over there, when I just could start expressing myself freely without feeling judged by others, I started exploring myself and really learned to trust myself, and therefore I learned really to live a more happy life. Then yeah, several things that I've experienced that are still feel partly a little bit awkward to talk about it, and I won't talk about it with everyone eventually, because of just learn to protect myself in a better way and to harness myself and abilities that I have, knowing that I have in a better way. But yeah, the spiritual awakening, and definitely like once I realized that what's really going on here, and I even could convince my human self that those things are actually happening. Like the yeah, once you start digging, you won't stop, as you say, and you just started going into all of those courses and learned about things. And this is exactly where I'm in. And this is also where we have some great conversations. Yeah.
And I think you raised some really good points there. So for me, it has totally changed my understanding of reality. And that can be really confronting for people, because what you thought was real isn't really real. And like when you discover all these gifts that you have and how you can use them to be of service and help other people, it really is bizarre to think, why can I see someone's future? What am I supposed to do with that? Um, and yes, you can feel very alone because you may have gifts that are completely different to the people around you. Everyone's on their spiritual journey, but some people really accelerate at a fast rate and other people take a long time to catch up. And so as you're on that journey, some of your people that have been in your circle may just drop out because they no longer understand who you are, who you're becoming. Why can't you just stay the way you were? But that's not your purpose to stay at their level if you've got a higher destiny and a higher purpose. So dealing with what you've had to do with hiding who you are and your gifts because of perceptions of how people are going to think about us.
Mm-hmm.
I totally understand, and it is awkward, as you say, because I communicate with animals who are living or in spirit. Now, just being an animal communicator, a lot of people are very skeptical about, but
Mm-hmm.
talking to animals in spirit, that's taking it to another level as well.
Oh yeah.
And but I just don't hide that. That's who I am. That's what I'm here on the planet to do. And I'm going to help more people and more animals if I'm open about what my gifts are and how I can be of service to the animals and make a difference for them. So I think that's part of the spiritual awakening journey as well, that when you find out why you're here and what you're meant to be doing, it's learning how to stand in your power, and not let other people take that away from you, because it's easy to listen to other people's negativity
Yeah.
and just change what you're doing rather than standing firm and doing what you're meant to be doing. So a lot of people say, you need to stand in your power and you need to speak your truth.
Mm-hmm.
And sometimes it takes a while to understand what that means,
Oh yeah.
and being confident enough to say what it is that we think and what we do. And then a lot of energetic work, which I know you're very familiar with, about the energy centers, and particularly with our solar plexus chakra, which is where our
Mm.
identity and self-will and personal power is sitting. And I've had experiences where people have wanted to affect my energy levels and have drained me, and I wasn't aware of that at the time.
Yeah,
But it's very important as part of your awareness process that you learn to understand your energetic body and the different layers, with your mental layer, the emotional layer, the physical layer,
yeah, yeah.
your spiritual being,
Hmm.
but also how to protect yourself energetically so that you can continue to do the work that you're here to do.
Exactly. Yeah, I mean, you say many things, right? That that are happening. It's very fascinating, even with the different body layers that we have that you've just started mentioning, and we may can go in another episode even talking about those things as well, as this is a big part of what we're doing and part of my awakening, right? When I've done healings and learned Reiki, I could feel the different layers in my palm. So having really a super sensitive palm and being able to sense vibration now, it already tingles. Um, I could actually really feel the different body layers whilst moving my hand in the auric field of someone that I practiced with. And this is very fascinating to experience. And therefore, we have to learn about our own energy. And as you say, who am I? Why am I here? What is my purpose? What am I capable of? Like, what is actually my potential? And sitting with those questions is very rewarding, and is something that I've done very early in my ages. And I knew that my purpose is large, and now I realize that not everyone has even a large purpose as I see for myself that I have. And this is also perfectly fine, as we are here to represent what we're here to represent, and there's no need to say that someone is better or not. It has nothing to do with that hierarchy thinking that most of the people think that it is, but there's no hierarchy of souls. We're a soul within the physical body, and to acknowledge that took me a while as well. So I grew up and they've told me about souls, or we say Seele in German, it's the German word, but I never really knew what how that actually feels like without having like with silencing the ego, basically, or with silencing the egoic voice that needs to know everything, it needs to make an understanding of everything, because some parts that are beyond that, there are just an intuitive knowing of things. And this is what you mentioned with the solar plexus, where is our in like when we're having that really in balance, then we can activate those abilities with more ease, because this is really where we are gaining our strength. And it's been very fascinating when I started on the healing journey myself, mostly in the last 2.5 years, the majority of it, after I had this heavy accident, where I got hit by a car on a highway as a pedestrian walking up there in the night. So it just shake me so much that I had to look at myself. I I knew that I had to make things differently, that I need to speak my truth, that I need to be honest to myself, and I had to learn to align the thoughts that I have and the actions that I take, so I could bring myself into coherence through living the way that actually in alignment with who I am, or that resonates with my being.
So it
Yeah.
really is a huge experience.
Mm-hmm.
finding out why we're here and how we can achieve what we're meant to achieve. But what I've found personally is that your gifts amplify over time. So once you start committing to your purpose
Yeah.
and taking action and doing things in alignment, as you say, that your gifts can amplify. So what I have the ability to do now, I didn't have 10 years ago.
Mm-hmm.
So it's just fascinating that things progress as well. So
Yeah.
once you wake up, it's not just a stagnant process, that the soul keeps evolving, our heart
Yeah.
keeps evolving, and we understand more about reality. Like I learn every conversation that I have with an animal, I'm
Mm-hmm.
learning more about their wisdom and why they're here. And to me, that's absolutely fascinating because I had no idea about their deeper spiritual purpose. And, a lot of people think that their animals are just pets, but they're highly intellectual, very intuitive. Some
Yeah.
of them have had multiple lifetimes as humans and animals, and they can teach us and support us on our spiritual path, and they can help accelerate our consciousness
Mm-hmm.
expansion. And I just think that's incredible.
Yeah, and this is something I've experienced my entire life. Like really the way that everything teaches me, that every single situation was like a teaching moment and a chance for me to grow and to gain some wisdom and to see the value in each moment. And like animals, they show you through their instincts, right? That they have their intuition, the way that they act. But even trees, right? Communicating with nature and seeing ourselves as part of nature as well is very cool. So yeah, let's go into the next episode very shortly, and we're
Mhm.
choosing to record, but to make it really digestible for people, we stop here and want to say thank you for watching and listening, and we hope and trust that you've gained some value, that you also learned something and can maybe even make some steps into the direction that you desire um, to to be on, really. So, is there anything else that you would like to address?
I think just that emphasizing the last point you made about the connectedness with everything in
Mm-hmm.
nature. So, yes, we can spend time in nature to re energize and to ground, to make sure that we're, carrying good energy that we're meant to be and not taking on other people's energies as well. But it's that appreciation that everything being connected means that whatever we do has an impact
Mm-hmm.
on everyone around us, that the interconnection message is something very profound that the animals want to get through to us as well.
Love that. I already have two more topics that we can talk about. It is so cool. Yeah, um, it's my pleasure talking to you, and
Thank you.
think
Look forward
people,
to the next session.
yeah, people feel the vibes, I'm pretty sure. So, yeah, thanks for watching. Give us a like, comment on what you feel, what you've experienced. If you have any questions, share if the video, if this episode is valuable to you. It might be from value to a loved one as well. We are all connected. We are all here to support each other and to live with each other. So let's do this. And if you feel like sharing in your story on Instagram or sharing on Facebook, sharing with your friends in a conversation, then please feel free to do that. Um, we love you lots. I just speak for us both. And yeah, see you in the next one.